Hello, welcome back to the last session of Hearts of Wulin with Gauntlet. Right. Yes, this game is played and set up through the Gauntlet online gaming community. If you're curious about this, Google Gauntlet RPG. I feel I always forget the link, but it's fine. Y'all's are internet people, internet things. So anyway, let's get down to business. And last time, a lot of things happened. Kurt was not here, but we had Jean and Joshua. I'm gonna get you to do a recap, concise but colorful recap of what happened to our intrepid PCs last time.
All right. So as you mentioned, Gene brought in Red Ray, who was a part of the Mini Venom sect, just like Graven Hunter. And a third party from the Mini Venom sect was trying to get Graven Hunter to take out Red Ray. But Red Ray and Graven Hunter, being old friends, kind of joined forces and fought that off. And then later in the story, Red Ray helped to prove Graven Hunter's innocence to perfected Starfall by pretending to be an imposter Graven Hunter and acting all a fool in front of everybody, so that anything Graven Hunter might have done in the past could be blamed on this imposter. So that was great for everybody. Also, Many-Tempered Xiaohu had a run-in with Dancer of Loss, wearing the Jade Serpent mask, helped her out, and then got her to safety. They had a touching moment together, and then Jade Serpent ran off. And we also found out that Razor Eyes Gongsun, Perfected Starfall's brother, and also the leader of the Meteor Grace clan, has some dark past with the Frosthearth Palace. I think that sums it up.
Yes. Yeah, that Jade Serpent, possibly Dancer of Loss, is one of the central mysteries. Speaking of no, that doesn't make, it's not a segue. Kurt, so what happened with Gentleman Baoyin 2 sessions ago? Where did we end off with you?
So the last thing I remember Gentleman Baoyin doing was sitting with the who is it? Is it Harmonious Owl? Is that who the commissioner is, or the magistrate?
The magistrate lady.
So I remember them sitting with Harmonious Owl, going over all of this. Then they I think that's when they were. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what the order of events were now. They found out that their mom was the Jade Serpent. Then they go to check on their sister, who is also training to become the Jade Serpent, or so he thinks. They fight. She wins. He leaves injured. Many-Tempered Chow, who finds him, and then takes him to Harmonious Owl to try to patch him up. And then he asks if Many-Tempered Chow, who is an honorable man, which the response was not so much. And now I think he has gone off into the night to go get good, as it were.
Okay.
And to try to figure out his sister's technique.
All right. So let's start with this training montage of you training. I think it was mentioned before. Wait, who wants to be training? Because I remember talking last time, and I think maybe Major Michelle, who also wanted to do some training. And then and I think Perfected Starfall, you were saying that you would train with him because you are, after all, a senior and junior relationship, or teacher and student.
Yeah, I think we were mentor mentee was the way that I think we had put it earlier.
Many-Tempered Shahu is my prized pupil, even though he doesn't feel that way, I don't think.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to feel a lot of emotional attachment to you, which is unfortunate. Okay, so I think this is a great like montage sequence that we can start with this episode with, where it's like montage of everyone doing maybe various training things. I will ask what Graven Hunter is doing after all of this, or during this time as well. Maybe also training. Who knows? Okay, so Gentleman Volume, you've gone off where?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, right, Joshua. Our entanglements.
Oh, you're right.
Right. Game mechanic. Yes, of course. Yeah, sorry. Let's do that. Good call. Okay, now I'm gonna hide the red ray columns because they're distracting me. Okay, so we're gonna go through them and again see if they still apply, and if not, we should change them. If they do, we keep them and then say which one you want to highlight for this last session of this game. So let us start. Let's start with Gentleman Volume. Sorry, in the middle of this sheet.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to go with my general, which is I've hidden my identity from Desert Star because of my entanglement with Many-Tempered Xiaohu. So I think that's going to come up today. So I'm gonna try to play on the engagement aspect of that quite a bit today.
Right. Yeah, and that's still relevant. And do you think your engagements they're still both relevant, or do you think you should want to change like your romantic one?
Let's see. Rejected perfected starfall, but Desert Star, who I desire loves them. I think I've been pretty well rejected by Desert Star. And so I don't know that that necessarily applies, except that he was meant to be going on a date with perfected starfall sometime soon, and then he disappeared into the night. So that one might change.
So do you think Gentleman Volume is not into Desert Star anymore? It's the kind of person that will accept a rejection.
Yeah.
I
think he's capable of accepting the fact that it's not happening. But that means I need a new romantic entanglement. Do I have to choose from the list a new romantic entanglement? Is that
No, I think because this is the last session, and a lot of things are going to be happening. If you think that okay, so maybe this one is just not as relevant anymore, you can just say okay, that's not a thing anymore, and you can summarize the current state of the relationship within that. And we're not going to change to a new one because that'll take up time.
Yeah,
precious time from our tangled plots.
I think that he saw something in Perfected Starfall when they had that moment, right?
Oh no.
And he was actually like willing to go on this date, but he's still got the whole Many-Tempered Xiaohu thing, and I think he's weighing, do I make good on this engagement to keep my sister from marrying this guy who's not an honorable man?
Oh, that is a really great entanglement. So, you had why don't we change it to something like I'll give a suggestion and you can modify it however you want. You have feelings for Perfected Starfall, but want to remain engaged to Many-Tempered Xiaohu to save your sister from him.
Oh, I'm not muted and typing, so I'm sorry. Everyone can hear all my typing. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I will update that right now.
Okay. I didn't hear any typing, actually, but great. Okay, so we have that, and again, you're highlighting your general one. Cool. Let us move to Perfected Starfall.
All right. I'm gonna keep that I love Gentleman Baoyin, but my clan member Many-Tempered Xiaohu is engaged to them. I definitely wanted to talk with Many-Tempered Xiaohu about that. But I think my general one, which is the one where Sour Sadness Bear suspects Graven Hunter, I think because of last session, we don't really need to worry about that anymore. If Sour Sadness Bear shows up and is upset about it, I don't think Perfected Starfall is going to change her mind at this point, having had it, unless some like serious stuff comes to light, So I think that's kind of done.
Interesting. So, because okay. So,
because I told Sour Sadness Bear I would look into it, and I did, and so I think it's pretty much in Perfected Starfall's mind, she did her due diligence.
Interesting. And well, I think that's a thing where it's like you can, like, a friendship can be where you think that your friend is wrong, but doesn't mean that there's no tension there, right?
Right. And it didn't actually solve it because we don't know what Gravenhunter's up to, so we can leave it there.
Yeah.
For sure.
It seems like it's still relevant because, like, that statement still is true, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Like, she still suspects him, and you are still remaining steadfastly loyal.
Yes.
Great. But you're highlighting the romantic one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Graven Hunter?
I highlighted my general. Don't know if it needs modification, though, at this point, given what we have learned. I don't know, I guess as I think this out loud, if Graven Hunter really would have any suspicion that it's still someone other than General Bao Yin's parent as the villain. Because I think, I guess, as I think this out loud, none of these other scenes have really involved Graven Hunter. So perhaps he's still under the suspicion that Gentleman Bao Yin's parent is the villain, Dongfang. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like I just sort of thought myself in circles and I arrived at the same point where I started.
Okay. Right. So were you also given a task that has to do with her or not? No, right?
I don't believe so. Yeah. Actually, I don't think I've focused very much on this entanglement, to be frank.
Okay. And your other one, is it still relevant? Like, what is your revenge against Sour Sadness Bear? Like, we actually have never established that interaction.
That is a really good point. Yeah. Maybe reputation is a very important thing for Graven Hunter, such that any kind of a slight would put him off or put him on his heels. So perhaps Sour Sadness Bear, caused him to lose face in front of Perfected Starfall, and it might be just like something of no consequence to anyone else except Graven Hunter. Does that?
Do you think it might be more accurate to write it as like you love Perfected Starfall, but her friend Sour Sadness Bear disapproves of you? I think that is one of the entanglements as well, actually.
Sure, that would make sense. Yeah.
Okay, but you're highlighting your general one. Okay, yes, that will definitely come into play. And last but not least, Many Timber Xiaohu.
Okay, let's see. I think I'm going to keep the romantic one highlighted because I think that's going to play into this, part of the Jade Serpent storyline. So I'd like to keep that one as my main highlighted one. The other one still seems to be in play because Harmonious Al is still out there bad-mouthing me. So I think that one might still be in play as well. But I want to highlight the one with Dancer of Loss and Bao Yin.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Let us get into the training montages now. Huh. Okay. I do want to start with Gentleman Bao Yin, just because we haven't seen him in a while. Sorry, Kurt.
No, I'm good. Sorry, I was just eating. So Gentleman Bao Yin, do you want me to just dive into it? Is there any like
I want to know where you are as
All right.
you're doing this.
So I think I want to say that there are the remnants of the Frosthearth Palace included shrines on the road.
Mm.
And so he could get out of town, but not too far to get to one of these.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's gone to this place, and like that reminds him of home and of being kind of being snubbed by the family and not getting trained in the normal their normal fighting style. And then we see like this flashback of him like watching from the outside, and then it cuts back to him like prepping the room to look like it did then. And like him playing with his sister and her always beating him in duels. But he's like trying to mimic her movements. And I don't know what do we decide their fighting style is called? Do we pick one for Dancer of Lost?
Shoot.
I think you said one, but I can't remember it. It was something vicious, though.
Well, this is where I should have taken better notes.
That's okay. So he's, you know, he's set his staff aside, and he's like moving into this other style that's a lot more aggressive and sort of has more attacks instead of you know, blocks and ripostes and throws and things like that, like his normal Taunt of the Monkey style. And it's a lot more serious. And so he's there's probably something. I love the Ip Man, when he's doing the you know, the training dummy. Just how like violent it looks when they have to hit that thing over and over again. And so there's probably some sort of like training thing that he's built that he's just like, you know, beating himself to crap on. And so his arms are like red and bloody, and he comes away, and finally he like hits it, and it like one of the pieces explodes in that splinter of wood. And he's like, you know, that's when you see like, I'm ready, right? And then he turns to come back to town.
Great. So let's see you roll for it.
Oh, okay. There's a roll.
Yes. So this is under the other moves tag, and it's called New Technique. This is when you go off and develop a new technique to face a foe of higher skill. Describe your montage and roll plus the number of times you've seen the foe's fighting form.
So just the once, or do we count like my backstory description?
Yeah, that can count as another one. So
okay, so that would be 2.
Yes.
And then I gotta find the roll. Here we go. Roll for your party. Roll 2 dice. Okay, so 3 and 4 is 7 plus 2 is 9.
Cool. All right, on a hit, you gain scale against your foe. On a 7 to 9, there's a significant loss to learning. Cost to learning the move. Ooh, okay. Huh. I think it would make sense that in order to fully immerse yourself into this fighting style, to really learn how to counter your sister's moves, your loss is actually you basically have to unlearn Taunt of the Monkey.
Yeah. So that's
Right.
gone.
Yeah. Oh, now I really want to know what
Does that mean I change my stat to something else? Like if I get rid of Taunt of the Monkey, does it change to a different stat? I guess it can't, because mechanically it has to be the highest. So
I mean, it could be, yeah.
It could be water.
It would be water, but your water is marked right now, so let's not do that, because
okay, we'll keep wood.
Yeah, but we should.
I'll go look at the names, and I'll pick one that sounds vicious.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I must have picked one. Yeah, the names and.
I think it was Thousand Spear Palm that you.
Oh yeah,
style was last time.
Okay.
Oh,
we're doing that.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
So now I have the Thousand Spear Palm.
Yeah. Taunt of the Monkey no more. Okay, and so yeah, like when you're done, or when the wooden block like shatters, you like stand there and it's like bloody and sweaty, and then like from from like the windows of this shrine, like the sun is just like rising and it's dawn, and then you walk back to town.
And you can see I left my staff behind.
Oh no! Great. And now, on to our second training montage. I think this is maybe interspersed between between each other. So, Perfected Starfall, how are you training Many Temper Xiaohu?
I think I am constantly trying to get him to like leave town for multiple days at a time, like without any of his normal frivolities or extra clothes or wine and tea. Like go out and forget about kind of the materialist ways of life, so he can focus on training. And I don't know how well that goes for him, but that's what she's going to try to do. Probably actually take him to where we had that moment with Jade Serpent and Gentleman Bao Yin under the shadow of the mountain.
Mm. Many Temper Xiaohu. Is that where you two both end up?
I think so. He is being particularly gripey and grumpy, and grumbling about having to leave Tiger Skin Guardian and all of his stuff behind. But he's he comes out because he does recognize that he's going to need some additional training, because dueling has not been typically his thing. So
Cool. So you both are here. I want to know what this training montage looks like. Is this you both sparring against each other, or is it Mini Temper Xiaohu just shadow boxing basically, with Perfect Starfall on the side and like maybe like throwing stones to hit pressure points or something? I don't know. What does it look like?
that sounds actually perfect, because I think if memory serves, her style is shooting stars. So that would be perfect. Like she's basically like she set up this practice dummy, one that's on like a turnstile, so it swings when you strike it one way and spins back around. And the whole time he's supposed to be working with that, she's like throwing stones at him to like correct his technique, and he's just getting more and more angry about that. Like he'll be practicing with the dummy, and maybe his stance will be incorrect or something, and she'll fling a rock and like clip his leg so that he like changes stance, and then he'll glare, and then he'll get smacked by the dummy as it spins back around. So you have a lot of stuff going on like that. You have any ideas on that, Josh?
I think that's perfect.
And Perfect Starfall, I have like how did you train as a child? Were you trained with your brother, or Laser Eyes Gongsun, or were you trained individually? And what did that look like?
No, I think we definitely trained together. I think he's the oldest, and so he was constantly teaching Perfected Starfall things. But I think she was maybe a little more naturally talented at that, and was very uninterested in like the other studies that they would do together, like the calligraphy and the history and all that stuff. So she was constantly kind of like walking away from her academic classes. Oops, we lost Agatha.
Ah, I'm back.
Welcome back. So yeah, I think Razor Eyes Gongsun was constantly trying to corral Perfected Starfall, and using his age to kind of push her around until eventually she stood up to him, and fought him off, and then became or won some kind of ceremonial duel, and became the leader of the martial arts portion of the Meteor Grace clan at that point.
Yeah. So as you're training as you're training, many term Xiaohu, I think this is ultimate. Like there's a moment where it's just a close up to your face as you see yourself through him, and then now the roles have been reversed. Instead of being the young, brilliant, and maybe a bit impetuous uh, prodigy, you are now on the other side and training the next person.
Yeah, I think definitely, and I think we see even some moments of like mini tempered Xiaohu getting it right near the very end, where he like moves his foot just a centimeter to the left and dodges this rock, and then moves his head just perfectly, and we see like some sparkles in her eye as she kind of relives that moment, that same moment that she had with her brother all those years ago. And this is why she cares so much for mini tempered Xiaohu.
Great, because you invested too much in him. Makes sense. So many time Michelle, I'm gonna get you to roll because you are the one who's gonna have to face the Jade Serpent. And again, you roll with how many times you've seen your opponent's form, and I believe this is. Oh wait, have you?
I don't think he hasn't seen her fight. He's seen her be injured. He's seen her like,
Oh no!
he's seen her disappear. But he's never actually seen her like fight. He's seen her like dodge away from him in the in the tea house. But
Okay.
I don't think he's seen her actually like get into a full combat style.
Okay, so this move requires you to have seen your foe's form at least once, but I'm gonna give that very, very brief moment when she jumps out of the window to you as once, because whatever, you're a prodigy, so why not? That counts as once, and you can roll +1.
Okay. That will be a 9.
Ooh, so there's a cost. What do you think could be a cost for you in learning this?
I think. Let me see.
I wonder if the more that you're mastering your form, which again is thunder in twilight, and your element is earth. Let me double check what that is. Caution, focus, presence. Interesting. There's a part of it where you come to realize, like, the more that you understand your own fighting style, and the more you think about this fight, and from the brief bit that you've seen of the way that Jade Serpent moves, or I guess not Jade Serpent, desert, no, Dancer of Loss. From the brief bit you've seen of that, you know that you can't actually fight her without doing your full like, you can't hold back. In order to win, you will have to either severely injure or kill her, and this is the realization that you get as you become more and more of a master of your own fighting.
Yikes.
Now, Graven Hunter, what are you doing in these couple of days? And we can also, and when everyone is gathered, it will be basically the day of the washing of the hands ceremony.
So Graven Hunter would still be, mindful of his mission. I mean, his sort of purpose in this town, and I think that he would probably also be involved in some sort of training, maybe some kind of just sort of preparing of his weapons. It's almost like maybe actually, as I think this out loud, maybe it's an opportunity to sort of lay a trap for who he thinks is the Jade Serpent. And
Ooh.
so, yeah, that as I think this out loud, that actually feels sort of consistent with his being sort of the hidden, right?
Okay.
So, maybe he is sort of, scoping out the, where the ceremony is going to be held. Perhaps he's hiding weapons. Perhaps he's, just sort of, getting a lay of the land and seeing where he can, lay an ambush or, take advantage, something to that effect.
Do you think that your ambush is going to be poison based?
Yeah, no, that is a great point. That is a great point. Yeah. Yeah, that would be consistent with the way that his sect seems to operate. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, from what you've heard, the washing of hands ceremony involves a literal washing of the hands, because it's a ceremony, and so what it involves, again, from what you have learned through your various odd jobs, is that there's going to be basically there's going to be a presentation of the Jade Serpent's weapon, and they're going to pass it on to someone. And once they do, they wash their hands of the Wulin life and they retire. That's kind of the gist of it.
Gotcha.
Maybe things will happen. Everyone has decided to keep it short because they know that there's going to be fights breaking out throughout it. So they're like, whatever. This is the ceremony. What would you like to poison?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm just trying to think about the imagery of this washing of the hands. I mean, is it in some regards like, is it analogous to like a baptism where, the water is put over someone's head and shoulders, or is it literally the hands?
It's literally the hands.
Literally the hands. Man. Well, I mean, it sort of seems that would be, the obvious medium. I guess I'm just trying to think of something clever to do with it, though.
So okay, I will ask a follow-up question.
Sure.
Is it the basin or the cloth that one would wipe their hands with that you would like to poison?
It feels like it would be the basin that, perhaps there's some sort of like, something that could be diluted in the water, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe part of the ceremony is that, it's not just water, of course, but it's perfumed and it's, there's perhaps some sort of, oils that are put into it, something that, again, is just sort of this, historical or legacy, right? Something
Mhm.
that, this is how we washed our hands. You made the water oily and perfumed. So, to that effect, maybe, it seems sort of just normal that you would just put something into the water, and perhaps, I guess, maybe Graven Hunter might switch the vials for something that is a paralytic, or, perhaps it, yeah, something that would just be absorbed by the skin. Does that make sense?
That's great. I'm gonna get you to roll overcome to see as you're working if you can pull this off successfully without a hitch.
Okay.
So, what element do you think you're gonna be rolling with? Have you cleared? Oh, ooh,
No.
ooh.
um, I imagine that this would fit into metal. This is sort of calculating
Yeah,
and sort of controlling the situation. So,
yeah.
um, here we go. Oh, perfect. So that's an 11.
Great. So you are just walking, and there's a couple of people who seem to be a part of the Meteor Grace clan who have been going um to 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 grab things, whatever. There's like tables or whatever that need to be set up here at the foot of the mountain, and some people, yeah, like, and then as you're walking towards where people are moving things, more and more people show up, but none of them are helping set up. They just all seem to be standing around. Some of them are still of the Meteor Grace clan, and some of them are not. Just a lot of people waiting. And they all have this look on their face. Well, actually, that's not true. Some of them, they have this look on their face like, yeah, the time has come. And some of them they're just like gathering around like, oh man, like what's gonna be happening? And then some people, they look really bored, like they have to be there. It's just, but there's just a lot of people there, and I think this is why you can kind of wind your way in so successfully up to this basin, right? No, Joshua, there is no funnel cake. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I would have mastered the art of blending in at this point, and it's by just looking like the hoi polloi. You know what I mean? I am just I'm there to, change the towels and just do sort of those rudimentary tasks. I take empty plates, I serve drinks, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you kind of just like pass your hand briefly over the basin and then something like drops into it, or what does that look like?
I imagine it's sort of a sleight of hand. Yeah, very good. I would be carrying these vials, just sort of in maybe just a bucket of old towels, dirty towels, or dirty rags, or something to that effect. And I think it's just sort of a sleight of hand. These 4 ornamental sort of vials are, there by the basin, and at one moment the master of ceremonies has turned his back or her back, and is she's engaged in a conversation, and I just very quickly slip the 2 down my sleeve, and I take the 2 out of the bucket and I replace them.
Great. Beautiful. You do it. And the wash of hands ceremony is imminent. I want to know if anyone wants to have a conversation with each other before it starts.
I do.
With whom?
With Perfected Starfall.
Great. Everyone else?
That's what I wanted as well, so we're good.
Cool. Graven Hunter, Mini Temper Shahu. Conversation? Yes, no?
I feel like there could be something with Bao Yin, but I think that might just be something that we interact with like around the ceremony more so than before.
Yeah, and I think Graven Hunter is eager to not draw attention to himself, and so trying to avoid Perfected Starfall just because the awkwardness, and he thinks that he's going to sort of even the score or settle with Gentleman Bao Yin's parent, and so that has its own level of awkwardness to it for him.
Right. Yeah, I think as you're waiting there, one of the people that shows up is that same guy that was, I don't know if I gave him a name, that you encountered, who works normally as a guard. Did I give him a name? I must have. Anyway, he's there.
Also, I think that was
looking,
Casting Blaze, right?
Was it? Sure. Casting Blaze. All right. Yeah. Who's Green Saber Jachi? I forgot. I think Green Saber Jachi was your teacher or something. Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah, Casting Blaze is definitely there. And because you're the first person there, you kind of noticed this. And also, we'll stick with that. And he looks, again, just kind of bored out of his mind, like, oh man, I need to be here. And he's like leaning against a tree. and chewing on a piece of grass. Now, Gentleman Volume and Perfect Starfall, where do you think you're having your conversation?
Do you want it to be at like a tea house, or should it be like under that same tree again?
Oh, I like the idea that Perfect Starfall was kind of like spending a few hours before the ceremony waiting for you there, just hoping you would show up, because she hasn't seen you, in
Mhm.
what, days now. So yeah, I think that's great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so he comes up, and sweet. So I think he comes up like stealthily. He doesn't like come walking up the hill all jolly or anything like that. So yeah, he's you can see that his demeanor has slightly changed, and I mean he's showing up in his black Jedi robes now instead of his white sandsuit. But yeah, he's probably wearing slightly different clothing, and he's a little more severe in the way he like walks and moves. Before he was really fluid and sort of jovial with everything he did. And so he sort of steps around the corner and perfected Starfall.
Oh, yeah, and I wasn't expecting you to come, but I'm so glad that you did. It's been a while.
Several days, I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to speak to you, but something terrible happened to me, and I had to go and deal with that.
I think she can see like your wrists are probably bandaged and still healing, and so she kind of reaches out to you, almost touching, but then pulls back just a little bit and says, "You're injured. Do you need help? Do you need assistance?"
I these injuries were a lesson, but I would not cast away your touch.
I think she reaches out and pulls back your long sleeve to reveal like kind of bandages that are caked with blood still, and you're kind of just, I imagine, like bearing through these wounds. Yeah, I definitely want to roll comfort and support here.
Yeah. What do you want to roll with?
The things that I already have marked. Let's do. So I'm gonna roll with wood, even though I don't have any bonuses. But I'm gonna spend my bond with Gentleman Baoyin.
Oh, you do that after.
Oh, okay, okay. Ooh,
What'd you
4.
roll?
So I guess I won't spend the bond.
Great. Mark that element. What are you doing to help?
I think I'm just trying to emotionally help him. Yeah, like I would like the conversation to kind of develop a little bit more with, you know, Gentleman Baoyin, you can't be serious about being involved in this ceremony. I can't let you endanger yourself.
I'm sorry, perfected Starfall, but that choice has already been made. I am more intertwined in this ceremony than you could ever know. And while I may have taken too long to see what was right in front of me, I've chosen my path, and I fear that I cannot deviate from it now.
And I think, Perfected Starfall, you, Ooh, you see this change in Gentleman Volume, and there's something in his eyes that remind you a lot of the Jade Serpent that evening when you saw her. And just as you think that, um, behind Gentleman Volume, emerging out of the shadows, one could say, uh, is the same woman wearing the same mask.
Of course. I think I want to just look immediately past Gentleman Ballion, step around him, blocking the path between the two, and say, call out to Jade Serpent. What are you doing here? Interrupting us again. Don't you have somewhere to be?
My son, are you here to witness my washing of hands?
And he steps out from behind her, and he says, Mother, it is a shame that you did not see fit to include me in our ways when I was but a child, but I've seen fit to train myself. Of course, I will be there.
And she walks a bit closer. Are you in front of Perfected Starfall now, or are you just beside her?
I think I step up beside Perfected Starfall.
Yeah, and she sees the your arms, obviously, and there's a brief pause, and she says, "I had hoped that you could be free of all of this, but I see that fate cannot be changed." And then she walks around the both of you towards up the path towards where the ceremony is going to be. And I think as you both, if you both were to turn around, you would see that as she's walking along, there are more people. Some people are just like kind of standing around, and when they see her, they all begin to draw their weapons. Like, and some of some of them, yeah, I think it's just there's a crowd that the atmosphere immediately switches when she appears, and she continues towards this high point where there is a basin.
So before that scene closes, can I say something more to Perfected Starfall?
Of course.
So I turn and look like straight in your eyes, and I think he reaches out a little bit, like not quite touching you, but as if he wants to place his hand on your cheek or chin or something. I'm sorry that I didn't see it sooner, but know that there is someone out there for you. Someone cares very much for you, and you shouldn't restrict yourself. Do not mourn the loss of my companionship. Be happy. And I want to try to comfort and support.
Yeah, that makes sense. What you rolling with?
All right, let's see. Let's go with let's go with passion. So fire.
Okay.
Super passionate. Oh, good. A 3. We're so bad at this.
Okay, definitely mark fire.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. So you're having this moment and your hand is reaching out, this time from your perspective. So you see, I mean, I suppose that both of you see Jade Serpent from the corner of your eye walking up, but you also notice, hmm, ah, I think you notice from the corner of your eye, another figure dressed almost exactly the same. And then when you turn around fully, is your sister. And she's walking. Um, I think you see her briefly before she fades into the shadows, and she's not walking the same way as your mother, but she's definitely also headed towards the gathering place.
Do you have a mask on? Or?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, with the half mask on.
Okay.
I mean, I think because I failed to comfort and support you, so I think like halfway through that speech, he just like turns and runs, chasing after his sister.
Where have I seen this?
Yeah, I think we're left in the camera pans around Perfected Starfall's face, and you see her hand go to where your hand was by her face, and there's like a tear running down her cheek.
Ooh.
And just cuts there.
Oh, okay. Chris, I see what you're asking about contacting someone to get, so, like in a flashback. What did you want to get out of it?
I was going to see if he could obtain a copy of one of those little half masks for the Jade Serpent.
I'm just gonna give it to you. That you do.
Cool. He'll have that secreted in his ridiculously ornate outfit.
Cool. And you've been waiting there too, right?
Yes.
Am I lagging?
No?
I feel like I am. Oh, okay, great. Very cool. So from your vantage point, you see the Jade Serpent come up, and it's not Dancer of Loss. Was there supposed to be a fight or no? So it wasn't declared from the Jade Serpent side, but this is declared from the Meteor Grace clan side, right?
Right. The impression that I got was that a duel had been set up with the Jade Serpent as a part of this washing of hands ceremony. I'm not sure if it was originally conceived of as a.
All right. Okay, so I think she walks up. So this woman, she walks up to you, or not completely. You know, she stands at good fighting distance away. And what does she do? She at her waist is a whip, and she takes it and unfurls it and says, "Young one, are you going to be my challenger?"
And Xiaohu nods and says, "That is the role I will play today."
How do you feel about the fact that this is not Dancer of Loss?
Honestly, he's a little bit relieved, given what he was expecting to have to deal with in that fight. So he's kind of relieved that it's not her. He's worried a little that it's someone he's completely unfamiliar with, but he's at least relieved that he's not going in a head-to-head fight with Dancer. So
Great. Okay, so So she kind of snaps the whip on the ground, and it cracks. And she kind of smiles through the half of her mask. And she says, "Let us begin." So, describe to me your strategy for fighting her, and then we can get you to roll.
Okay. I think given that she is deploying a whip and his general weapon of choice is an axe, what he's going to try and do is to see if he can get her to extend the whip in an entangle move, like to try and entangle the axe.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to try and use his superior body weight to basically pull her in closer and close the distance so that the whip becomes more of a hindrance than a help.
Great.
And he's going to try and, instead of doing the chopping with the axe, he's going to try and basically just use it as basically a club. So he's not going to try the edge. He's going to try and, like, once he gets her in close, just sort of use the axe as sort of a club to incapacitate her.
Okay. And remember what we established before, that you know that you're going to have to basically mortally wound her, if not kill her on the spot, if you are to win.
Yep. So he is.
Okay.
He's got that, and I think as they close, I think he leans forward, and you see him sort of slide on the half of the mask in front of her, and he looks up to her with his half of the mask on, and smiles. He's trying to throw her off a little bit and see if this helps.
Let's get you to roll.
So, okay. Let's see. I guess I'll use the 2 blue dice in the middle here. Let's see. I think, I guess I'll roll with water on this one because I'm using...
No, you have to roll with your style element.
Oh, this is the fight move. Sorry.
Because it's a duel.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I wasn't sure if we were into the duel move yet or not. Okay.
Yes, we are.
All right, so that'll be the earth move, and let's see how this goes. Okay, there they go. Okay. 7 plus 2 is 9. And let's see.
Did you want to make it to a 10? By burning your last bond?
Yes. I will move it. I will burn it to a 10. And I have that last bond with Gentleman Bao Yin. Which
describe how that relationship helps you in this situation.
I think that let's see. I think that he's remembering a bits of that conversation he and Bao Yin had about Dancer of Loss. Because they had a very short, sort of clipped conversation about her, I think in like either session 2 or 3. I think when they all met in the street, or shortly after that. And he's remembering that, and he's remembering how, you know, as part of that whole situation that he got to finally have like a extended conversation with Dancer of Loss following that incident.
Okay.
So he's kind of pulling in that memory of that short conversation they had in the street, and the sort of, if I remember it being a sort of a backhanded comments to Xiaohu about his relationship with Dancer of Loss in that short conversation, because I don't think Bao Yin ever revealed anything to me at that point, but it was more like he was just a friend of Dancer of Loss at that point, as far as Xiaohu knew.
Right. All right. Okay, so 10 plus, you win the conflict, and
See, the dual move lets me show mercy to gain XP, but we also did that previous move that said if I was going to win, that I would have to go all out.
So you can, well, so your decision point would be killing her immediately or just mortally wounding her.
Okay. I think it's a situation where it ends up with them in a clinch, and I think she ends up with a which should be a mortal wound. Basically, when as the duel went on, she finally actually did make the mistake of going for the entangle on the axe, and he uses that leverage and his superior size to just sort of yank her off balance, and she tumbles in close. And instead of coming into a clinch, which is what he really had wanted, she ended up colliding with the axe blade, like right in her abdomen. So it's not an immediate wound. It's not an immediate death, but it's not going to be good either.
Great.
So it was kind of on his part, that was not necessarily what he was trying to do, but it happened as a part of the move that he was trying to execute to deal with the fight. So
awesome. And she collapses to the ground. And there's like a collective gasp around you, but more people are starting to draw their weapons as well. And actually, I want to know where everyone is. So Zhenhan and Baoyin, you ran off chasing your sister, right?
Trying to unmute and hit the wrong button.
Okay.
Yeah, I chased my sister. Did she come to this thing? Because I'd probably be near her.
Yep.
And can I see this fight happening?
Yep. I think this is exactly where you come up to. Is your mother getting slashed and falling to the ground?
And do I know enough about this ceremony to know what that means? Like, is the washing hands, is it meant to have this fight, or did he just challenge her to a duel right now?
I think enough people have been talking about it to know that there's a duel, but it's definitely not supposed to be a duel to the death.
Yeah.
And your sister screams, "No!" And she jumps forward. Did she have a weapon before? Did we still? No, she fought unarmed, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's our style, right?
Yeah. And she jumps up, but and it looks like she's headed in the direction, and from your line of sight, you see Mini-Term Xiaohu, and then behind him, Razor Eyes Gongsun, who also has his eyes wide with shock and looks like he's gonna run over to Jade Serpent, or aka your mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
okay.
I'm also going to. So I'm just gonna hold that pin right there, and okay, Perfect Starfall. Where did you follow after Gentleman Baoyin, or did you just go by yourself to the ceremony?
I think I just walked by myself and probably would have come up in the middle of this fight or at the very end of it. Because I would imagine I would also be running up, feeling somewhat responsible to try to help at this point.
Okay, I think before you fully reach there, who is it? Oh, someone like emerges from, or actually no, one of the people that was kind of standing there and everyone's kind of walking towards the same direction. One of those people, he turns around suddenly and comes at you with a hatchet. And this person you recognize as being on, like, he was in that weird street side brawl in the very beginning.
Yeah. I think I want to use my master move.
Uh-huh.
To try to get him to not fight me.
Yeah.
So let's
definitely.
I'm gonna roll with.
What are you rolling with?
Earth.
Okay.
That's like all I have left.
You also have water.
I do also have water. Yeah, you know what? That does kind of line up better. Awareness and all that.
How are you trying to stop him? Do you like kind of like parry his one attack while speaking to him? Is that what that looks like?
So trying to think what the best way to. I think I kind of see him coming up behind me in a piece of glass that's hanging from a stall or something, and I quickly like throw one of my stars at this pot that's hanging, and it bounces back towards him, and he has to like stop charging at me to dodge it.
Great. Let's see your roll.
Cool. That's
What's your roll?
2 + 2 is 4.
Oh my gosh. Wow. You oh. Okay.
So yeah, I think I turn around and start trying to like be like, why are you fighting me? We have no time for this. I have business to attend to. And he just, maybe.
So yeah, so what happens is he his head whips around and he sees one of the stars that you've thrown, and he immediately he immediately blocks it with his hatchet, and then he, without change direction, so he comes at you. Wait. No, I think he actually, instead of blocking it with his hatchet, he actually throws his hatchet. So it like clangs with the shooting star in midair, and they both fall to the side, on the ground. And but he's still going the same direction, still flying at you. And he immediately, with his stance, he hits you. I think like 2 pressure points, like in your chest and somewhere on your torso. And it is actually the Thousand Spirit Palm that he uses on you, though of course you wouldn't know. And I'm gonna say, do not mark water, but instead mark wounded.
Oh, okay. So leave my water unmarked.
Yes, but he hits you very hard, and he says, "Finally, the day has come. Revenge on the Meteor Grace clan."
My worst fears have been realized.
And all around you, you're now hearing the sound of fighting. Now, Graven Hunter, okay, so so it seems like your plan doesn't seem to be necessary anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. I mean, would Graven Hunter recognize Gentleman Baoyin's parent and sort of see the scuffle that happened? Or I mean, would Graven Hunter have seen that? I guess is
Yes.
really what I'm asking. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the best thing. Um, Let me double check your entanglements.
Sure.
um, all right. Okay. So you're watching all of this, and you're like, oh, okay. And then, ooh, I'm assuming you must be very engrossed in this situation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A hand comes on your shoulder, it grabs you, and you hear, "I finally found you."
So yeah, so I would quickly spin around and
Mm-hmm. It's freaking Sourtown is bear.
of course. Of course it would have to be. Uh
Yeah.
uh
What kind of weapon does she have again?
Those big swords, I think.
oh
At
yeah,
least
that's
in the
right.
picture it is.
In the picture it is. Yep. So she's got that huge sword and she draws it. What do you do?
Oh, well. So I've been sitting on this. I mean, perhaps this is an opportunity for me to reveal my true self.
Yeah.
um, so, I mean, do I essentially just mechanically just, sort of pick a playbook?
Yes.
So I had been eyeballing the swordsman in the loyal.
Mm-hmm.
It feels consistent with, metal and sword, being his sort of specialty.
Great. Okay.
So yeah, so Graven Hunter just sort of pulls aside his sort of robe or his vest and draws his sword and just sort of I mean this is sort of this moment that he has been waiting for, right? I mean this is the big reveal. Um,
Okay. So you're gonna fight her?
yes, but not without giving her an opportunity to apologize for or to make amends for that insult, to my honor that cast me in such a negative light in front of perfected Starfall.
And what exactly was the insult?
Um,
What, like, in what nature?
yeah. Again, I mean, I guess, uh, perhaps, maybe Graven Hunter suspected Sour Sadness Bear of just, um, just sort of making up stories and telling lies behind his back to cause Perfected Starfall to sort of just think of him as a buffoon. You know what I mean? It's and maybe it's not even real. Maybe it's just sort of perceived. But this is all again from like Graven Hunter's perception, right?
Okay. All right. So you're clearly going to fight her. She has this giant sword, but her fighting style is very quick, is what I established. So she sees you draw your sword, and she's like, "I knew it." Um, and she comes at you. Let's have this duel. Um, uh, yeah, let's have it.
Okay. So, um, so would he be familiar with Sour Sadness Bear's fighting style? I mean, I guess as I just try to think about this.
You're on the same scale.
Gotcha. Um, I'm just trying to see if there's anything that I'm leaving on the table.
What do you mean?
Oh no, I was just taking a look at my other moves, just out of curiosity to see if there's something that would sort of fit this. But um, no, unfortunately not in this. So Graven Hunter would probably approach the situation just trying to again control cautiously the situation and fight or find an opportunity to strike.
Yeah, and I think what this looks like is she's very fast, even though she's wielding a huge weapon. Apparently she's very strong too. So she swings at you, and there's that sound, the sound of like when something goes really fast in the air.
Sure.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you please go ahead.
Yeah, and she's swinging at you, and if you, I don't know if you could really block that because your weapon is a lot lighter, but you could, whatever. But I think that the more you fight, the closer to where the ceremony is supposed to take place is. And yeah, so that's kind of her style, is very fast and actually very deadly.
So I think the way that Graven Hunter would approach this is just to try to let her tire herself out. Just again, the style is the hidden path, and so it's all about kind of just these fakes and feints and just moving out of the way, and maybe presenting sort of a false opportunity and then kind of just taking it away. So okay. Oh gosh, that's a 4.
That's a 4?
I beg your pardon, a 5. It's a 3 plus 2 is a 5.
Oh no. Oh, that is so good. What happens? Huh. We'll come back to this. Mark your style element. All right, so we've had those people. All right, let's get back to you, gentleman Boyin. Your sister running off, your mom
I'm so
bleeding.
conflicted.
Wait,
Someone's murdering the woman I love, but I'm not gonna go for. Okay, so
you don't know about.
oh, that's like out of my peripherals.
Yes, right now it's just bam.
I think he runs up to mom. I think he does the run up and slide on your knees, right, and like grab mom and like look at the wound to see like how bad it is, and he's trying to see if he can help, but obviously he can't, right, because it's like horrible. And he's looking at her and he says, I didn't want this. I just wanted my I just wanted to be part of the family.
And your mother God, on the ground looks up at you, and her mask is starting to, like, it's like a little askew, and you can see that like the part that is not is uncovered is scarred, like it was it went through some like like through a fire, basically. And she smiles, though only with one side of her face, because the other side, the tissues have been wrecked. And she puts, yeah, she reaches up, and it's just she's kind of like, there's like blood now, like just everywhere. Her hand is bloody, and it's kind of, and when she puts her hand on your cheek, it's like leaving a bloody trail as well. And she says, I wanted you to be free of this. I wanted you to, we all wanted to protect you. But I see that I was wrong. And that I'm proud of you. The Frost Earth Palace will live through you. I will not die in vain, because today the Meteor Grace clan will be destroyed, just like ours was by them.
And you see him like a, tears are just rolling down his face. And he looks at her and he says, I'll see it done.
Xiaohu, you hear this, definitely. You're still there. Yeah, and her hand kind of like falls. And she says, well, and actually it falls, and she removes her mask completely, and you see just the full extent of how it like, and actually like her I guess this is on the right side of her face, so her right eye is like it's non-functional, and she takes one of your hands again, now it becomes covered with blood, and then she puts her mask, also covered with her blood, into your hand.
And so he takes the mask, and as he stands up, like the mask comes up at the same time he's standing up, and like because he's got that long hair, right?
Yeah.
And so like his hair's down, and he just like puts the mask up under and like goes back and moves the hair, and the mask is there, and he looks like straight at many-tempered Xiaohu.
Okay. Oh man. Okay, so let's get a lay of the land again. Mei-tempered Xiaohu. Well, actually,
Xiaohu's still wearing his half of that mask too.
yeah, it's just a bunch of people wearing the same masks. And Dancer of Loss is there as well. And oh man. Professor Starfall, are you coming up to this? Or I think you after you've been hit in the pressure point, let's see, what's his name?
Is it the Stone Smasher guy?
Stone Smasher. It like and I must do you like kind of like do the thing where you like and then you cough up blood. Sorry for that wind.
Oh, definitely. And she's wearing her like nice dress now, the inlaid silver. It's almost like shining in the sun.
Yeah.
And so when she coughs it up, it's just like this dark red stain on her.
Yeah. And he doesn't. He pauses. I think he actually gives you this look, this like contemptuous look, and he bends down, picks up his hatchet, and heads towards where everyone else is. He kind of like just like jumps off. And well, I mean, you're very quite severely wounded, but he's made a statement about your worst fears.
Yeah. Gosh. So I'm gonna use Storm Rider to jump like into the I kind of pick myself off the ground. I imagine I've collapsed a little bit, and just like close my eyes and summon all the energy I can and zip like up onto the top of the kind of like area that is encircling where the washing of hands ceremony is. And I see Gentleman Baoyin and Many-Tempered Xiaohu and Graven Hunter and Sour Sadness Bear. Everybody just
and Dancer of Law. So you see, well, okay, so you see, you definitely see the Jade Serpent that you saw before, and the one that you traded barbs with, on the ground, bleeding her guts out. And you see another person, another woman with the same mask. You see, you see Mei-tempered Xiaohu with the same mask. You see Gentleman Baoyin, with the same mask as well, but now there's like blood like all over it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna roll interconflict first, and then
Great.
we'll see where that gets me.
What you rolling with? By the way, there's a -2
Yeah.
ongoing because you're wounded.
And I don't even know how to get rid of that, so probably not gonna happen.
It could be cleared in the same way if you roll to impress everyone, or if someone comforts and supports you, or if you get a 10+ when you comfort and support someone.
Gotcha. I think I'm gonna roll with water. All right. Ooh, that's a 13.
Yes. Oh wait, but you can't roll with water because water is your cell element, and inner conflict.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so it would
It's
be
fine.
12.
So it's a 12. What did you roll?
A 5 and a 6.
5 and a 6. So it's a 12 -2 is 10. Excellent.
Sweet. So I think I'm going to. Man, I want to stop all of the fighting. every single fight. That's a lot of rolling with master at -2 though.
I want you to I do want you to know that your actually Sour Santa's bear, I think at this moment is standing over Graven Hunter with her giant sword.
Well, I actually wanted to go to them first anyway, because if I can stop that fight, then they'll both be on my side, potentially. So yeah, I'm gonna zip down there. Can we say that they're kind of closer to me than Xiaohu and Gentleman Baoyan?
Yes, we can say that.
Sweet. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of, maybe I even, as I'm light footing in, throw 2 of my stars and kind of bounce Sour Sadness Bear's blade out of the way and kind
Sure.
of land right in front of them.
Okay. I need to know what. Oh, actually, yeah. So as you're coming in, because you are the master, your trained eyes see that Graven Hunter, despite the fact that that he is losing this fight, he's definitely trained, and he has his sword, and the way that he's handling it, and maybe you've and I think your eyes, you're very good at picking out details, right? Um, when you like get a lot closer, you actually see, excuse me, that first of all, he has a stance when he's holding the sword, but also that you see that there are actually like calluses along like between his thumb and his forefinger, which can only come from many years of handling a sword.
I think he looks, or Perfected Starfall looks kind of glaringly at Graven Hunter, and they meet eyes. She stares daggers at him, but then turns to Sour Sadness Bear and says, "We don't have time for this. Please, please join me in stopping this needless bloodshed. Both of you, stand up."
Great. Definitely roll.
Okay. And this I can use water on, so. All right, that is not successful. So the water cancels out the -2, but even if I burn both my bonds, I still wouldn't get to 7. So I'm at 4.
Okay, mark water. Jeez. And what is you're having this conversation, and I believe if I established correctly that Razor Eyes Gongsun is also somewhere around here. So you're having this stern talk, and then like blood splatters on your face, and you see beside you, what kind of weapon does Razor Eyes Gongsun have? Question mark, question mark. You see like Razor Eyes Gongsun with his hand outstretched, like he just threw something, and I don't know, maybe they're kind, yeah, and oh. Oh, and Sour Santa's bear uh, has a razor fan, perfect. A razor fan lodged into, I think this it's like shoulder, between her shoulder blade and like, so it just missed the jugular, I think, and she's not like spraying with blood, but definitely it hit her right here, and she looks shocked. And he says, I know that you're a part of the many venom sect, and you are just as guilty as we are in the destruction of Frosthearth Palace. I have done this wrong, and I am paying for it, as will you. And she kind of like falls.
Yeah, I think I want to jump in and catch her at least halfway down. I yell at Razor Eyes Gongsun, why are you adding to this madness? If you feel conflicted about this, if this is something that is important to you, then end your own life. Don't involve all these innocents.
And he kind of laughs and he says, you think that she is your friend just because of your personalities? She has been watching us all this time because she knew. She knew that the day of reckoning would come. Sister, blood needs to be paid for with blood. Graven Hunter,
Yeah, this is quite a party. I this sort of feels like an opportunity for to sort of extend grace. You know what I mean? To just sort of bridge, right? I think Graven Hunter understands that um, if he doesn't take a step forward to try to make amends, that this is just going to continue to sort of spiral out.
interesting.
Yeah.
How do you plan on doing this?
So did I understand that Sour Sadness Bear is also Venom Sect, or did I misunderstand what was just said?
Yeah, that's what Razor Eyes Gongsun said.
Yeah. Okay. And I think in the last game that we established that something to the effect of really there can only be sort of one in each village.
One in each village. But somehow all these people have been congregating here.
Yeah. So, could I, could I try to, sort of, stop the bleeding, or sort of try to extend some sort of care, some sort of help to sour sadness bear. And if I guess what I'm trying to show perfected starfall is that that I guess that this doesn't really have to end in sort of a bloodbath. You know what I mean? That I guess that we can start to try to sort of amend the situation.
Okay. So you can definitely try to stop the bleeding. What do you say?
I'm sorry.
What do you
what do I say?
to Perfect Starfall? Role play.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I guess perfected starfall. Let me help you. Let me assist you. I know that things have been terrible between me and Sour Sadness Bear, but I know she means a lot to you, and I can help you make this a better situation.
Promise me you'll let nothing more happen to her.
I promise.
Thank you, Graven Hunter. You've always been a friend. And she kind of puts her hand on Sour Sadness Bear's head, and hands her off to Graven Hunter, and then stalks after Razor Eyes Going Sun.
Great. Now back to a couple of figures in the middle of all this. Okay, gentleman, Baoyin.
Okay. I feel like I need to roll inner conflict. Because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna reveal my betrothal to Many Temper Xiaohu in an attempt to throw him off his game. But so I don't know if you want to inner conflict roll.
Well, is that how you feel? You feel very conflicted?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to let go. Like, he just promised he would help take down the
Meteor Grace Clan.
Meteor Grace Clan, which, like, so he's taking a side against Perfected Starfall and like washing his hands. So now is like his last chance to back out and not do like and not turn away from her.
Okay, let's get your roll.
Okay, I'm gonna roll these red dice.
And what are you rolling with?
Oh shoot. The only thing that's not marked. No.
Oh, yeah. There's the only one that you can roll with because the other is your Sal element.
Yeah, so Earth. So and it's -1.
Yeah, because you need to focus.
Yeah, so that's a 5. So what does that do? Let's see.
So, I think when you stand up with the mask on your face, and you're still kind of like struggling, even though you did promise. You know, it's a hard decision, and your mother sees you struggle, and she grabs onto your hand with, again, her bloodied hand, and she says, "I believe in you, my son." And then with her other hand, she has the spear palm, even though her she's dropped the whip at this point. She does the palm, and she stabs herself so that she can die immediately instead of a multi-day death.
Yeah.
And then falls to the ground.
Okay. And then what is there a mechanical effect to me other than all that horrible trauma that I just experienced?
I think that's enough.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, so then I turn more resolute to Many Temper Xiaohu, and I say, Allow me to introduce myself formally. I am Nan Feng of the Frosthearth Palace, and I am the Jade Serpent, your betrothed.
I think Xiaohu looks from him, and then standing like over here to the other side is also Dancer of Loss in a Jade Serpent mask, right?
Yes.
Xiaohu looks at Bao Yin, looks over at Dancer of Loss, and back. And back again. So all this time. And yes, oh yeah, he's gonna have to roll inner conflict. But he's not looking at Bao Yin when he's rolling it. He's actually looking at Dancer of Loss.
Yeah. What are you rolling with?
Let's see. I'm guessing I'm going to try and roll with water for wisdom and flexibility in trying to deal with this insane situation. I'm going to try and use these 2 red dice over here. That is a 9. So
do you have one to bump it up to the 10? Oh, you do not. Okay.
I don't. So
so you can either flee the situation or mark your element.
I think he's in a situation where he doesn't feel like he can flee the scene. But I think he's just gonna have to mark water. Like he feels uncertain and isolated, like the one person he still had some trust in this particular group of people here. Dancer of Loss is standing on the other side and swearing, and the other one has just sworn vengeance on his entire clan, and his mentor is nowhere to be found. So he is now feeling isolated, so he's marking water.
Great. So, Gentleman Bao Yin, do you think you're going to fight Many Tempered Xiaohu?
Yeah, I was just looking at the PC duel. Say what you'll give them if they accept your victory. You may offer unspent XP, character actions, burning bonds.
Yeah.
And I move in. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to let you know that if they reject the offer, then you both mark an element, and then they get to choose, or in this case, Chris gets to choose whether Many Tempered Xiaohu, if you draw, or if Many Tempered Xiaohu wins. So no pressure, just the whole situation.
Yeah. So he leans in real close to Many Tempered Xiaohu, and he whispers in your ear, "As the leader of my fallen clan, I offer you the one you love if you would leave right now, or stay, marry me, and we will dismantle the Meteor Grace clan together."
I have a clarifying question. So, are you still?
I think he's offering him an out, or we can fight. Like, you can leave with my sister, or we can fight.
Well, in this case, that's not really.
That doesn't count.
PC versus PC duel then, because your offer is for victory in winning, but you can just say this if that's what you wanted, despite the fact that uh, your mom just entrusted this whole revenge plot to you and uh, killed herself to harden your resolve.
I think, well, in that case, either way, wouldn't we win? Wouldn't we dismantle the Meteor Grace clan? Either we fight and, oh no, I guess. Okay, well, what can I offer?
You can offer a change in the entanglement. For example, that you can say, "Oh, if you let me win, and
I'll call
however,
off our engagement.
or that that Dancer of Loss will rush to his side, right? Like you can
Mhm.
offer things like that because she's just an NPC. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm giving you that option.
yeah.
We can try to offer something else.
No, I think that's what I was kind of going for, right? Like either like stand your ground and we'll fight, or run away with my sister like you want.
Right. Well, in this case, it would have to be
Lose
if
the
I
duel, and
lose
then
and then
my sister will run off with you. Okay. So it's an out of character, like it's a meta thing,
yeah.
what I'm offering. Okay. So the meta thing is if we fight and I win, she'll take pity on you. Like she'll do the thing where she gets mad at me for defeating you in a duel and goes with you. And then you get what you wanted. You get to live with the person you wanted. It would change the entanglement. We would no longer be betrothed. I would call off the betrothal. Is that worth losing
my
a duel?
I guess I also have a question. Like, what does winning against him mean? Like, are you wounding him? Are you doing at least that?
I think he has to leave. He can't help defend the Meteor Grace clan.
So, oh wait. So what you mean is leave now so I can decimate the rest of your clan.
Yeah.
But you get to be with the okay, I think that's very different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trade your clan for the girl, or stay and fight me, and the girl probably takes my side.
That's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, that is really tempting. Hmm.
Love or honor? Which do you choose?
Or like this one woman who you love, or the rest of your clan.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Love, at least to a certain degree.
Hmm. Ooh, this is tricky. The I think I think Xiaohu removes the mask from his face and lets it fall, and he looks toward 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 Dancer of Loss, and then he turns back uh, to Gentleman Bao Yin or Nanfeng, Jade Serpent, and says, "You have asked me to do what, and he looks down at the former Jade Serpent. You've asked me to do what she asked you to do. Did you accept that offer when she made it to you?
So we're gonna lose. So do I lose or draw?
Yeah.
I think that's he sets back into a fighting stance and says, that is not how this will end.
So you reject the offer.
I reject the offer. Oh,
Great.
God, that was hard. I almost felt like I had to roll an inner conflict to reject the offer.
Okay, so both of you mark an element.
Okay.
Let's see.
And you did not make me mark Earth when I failed my inner conflict, right?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I will mark Earth.
So you both did, and
So
well,
do you win or do we draw?
yes.
I think it ends up. I think it's going to end up as like a long draw.
Mm.
Like both of you are using your barehanded technique, but Xiaohu has that oversized axe, and so it's a continuous back and forth of like you got both of you guys alternating trying to get in close, and him doing broad swaths with that axe, kicking chairs, knocking over tables as he's swinging that thing around, getting in your way, sort of tripping you guys up so you can't close to deliver one of those 1,000 palm strikes. And it goes back and forth, and it ends up just as kind of a dead draw again, with us continuously circling around the Jade Serpent's corpse.
Actually,
as we're darting around. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
As we're just sort of as we just sort of going back and forth, we're just circling around that area, and neither side is able to get the upper hand.
And if I may suggest, from what you've realized during your training, neither of you can win unless you've injured each other. So how about in the very, like, what ends this fight is the fact that you both injure each other. And I'm offering this as an option, so you don't mark your element, but instead you both mark wounded.
I actually kind of like that. Like maybe at some point, like Valian sort of darts in and connects with the 1,000 palm strike to one of my shoulders, but at the same time the axe swings around and like clips him on the arm.
Valian, what do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. Can it be the ribs?
More than ribs? Ooh, very poetic, but I mean that's fine with me.
Yeah. Not like a killing blow or anything, but it's definitely like
it's a character wound.
It cracked some ribs. Like maybe it wasn't a cut, like it was the thing, and it like broke like 3 or 4 ribs, and now he's just like, okay, cool. Can the reason that we decided to stop fighting each other be because we realize that all of the other people, like us fighting each other, all of our people are dying? Like we take these wounds and we see like all of the people on both sides are just killing each other.
I kind of like that. We sort of stagger back after we each take those 2 shots. We sort of stagger back and we look around as we're sort of, getting our bearings and taking deep breaths.
Yeah, and I can say that what you both see is that Dancer of Loss and Tiger Skin Guardian have also landed blows on each other and are now also just kind of like on the ground, away from each other, but looking definitely wounded. And yeah, let's have the other the other two. So you're Perfected Starfall. You're following after Razor Eyes Gongsun. What exactly? So he has gone off, and he's basically going to start attacking. He is at first. It seems like he's killing just random people because again, there are other people here. It's not just the Meteor Grace clan and or the members of the Frost Earth Palace or the Many Venom sect, but there's other people here as well. And he's just like he is so with this razor eye focus. He's pinpointing certain people and just killing them. And a lot of these people are already engaged in battle, and he just like his fan goes, he attacks. Let's say he has double fans because I think the other one is probably still lodged in Sarah Sadness Bear.
Yeah, so I have a quick question. Jade Serpent promised me that innocents wouldn't be hurt.
Mhm.
I'm curious if there are any innocents who have been hurt because of this.
I would say so.
So I'm going to use that move to say that her plans go awry in some way then. Which I would like to say that allows me to convince Bao Yin to call off the attack, or call off at least the people who are willing to listen to him, since he's the leader.
Interesting. Well, this involves another PC, so I think you can definitely have her plan go right, and you can definitely go have this conversation with Gentleman Bao Yin. But is there something else that you wanted to, that I can just say, yes, that happens?
Well, I think what I want to do is offer him Razor Eyes Gongsun, but then we'll have to hunt him down together.
Okay.
But I can't even like fight or anything, at this point. So I don't know what else to do.
No, that's totally fine. So I think in terms of like what if her plans go awry, maybe it's just that there are too many people who are there that are not, enacting her plan because the Frost Earth Palace has been destroyed. So there's only a few people left, and maybe they're basically either subdued or killed like before the real the full extent of the revenge has been enacted. And so I mean Rizar's Gonzo is kind of like on his one man vendetta. But yeah, if that's what you want to do. Graven Hunter, is there anything that you want to do? I mean, you see Rizar's Gonzo there, this what's happening.
Yeah, no, I imagined I guess that I was staying with Sour Sadness Bear.
Oh right, that's true.
Yeah, I mean I guess I don't know if we have to resolve this right now or at this moment, but I just don't understand how Sour Sadness Bear could get that close to Perfected Starfall, and sort of the whole myth around the Many Venom sect that we were building. But
yeah, and I think that's a great doubt that you have. Did you want to ask her?
we can do that now. Sure, yeah. I guess as I'm comforting Sour Sadness Bear, I just don't understand. I mean, how did you know that I was a Many Venom sect member? I mean, how much of this do you understand?
And maybe you were able to remove the fan, and you're just like applying pressure to wherever this. I don't know. I'm assuming you maybe have some good first aid skills, but so she speaks, and it's so quiet that you have to lean down, and she says, "What are you talking about?"
I mean, so were you here looking for Jade Serpent, or I mean, what are you doing here?
And where's the branding on you again?
I think we had said somewhere around the nape of the neck.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, and if you were to just kind of like move aside like the top of her of her clothing, there's no branding there.
Oh.
And this is the innocent. This is the first innocent that we've established
Gotcha.
in fiction that has been caught in the crossfire.
Okay.
And she's just kind of like she looks bewildered. And her eyes are kind of starting to glaze over. Um just from the pain and also like the blood loss. And she looks at you and she says, "What? How? Who are you?"
Well, I'm not the buffoon that you all thought I was. I've been sent here by the Many Venom sect um, to take justice on uh, the Jade Serpent, and I had suspected that the Jade Serpent was related to Gentleman Bao Yin, and this was all coming to plan until the fighting started, and now things are completely out of control.
And she kind of like she turns her head a little bit like she was going to shake her head, and then her eyes squeeze shut. This is absolutely stupid. And I think at this point she passes out.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you can probably just like apply enough pressure or on her and like leave her there basically. If you wanted to go and do something else, because I don't want you to be stuck there.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, I mean, I think I had said earlier that I was walking around with essentially towels, napkins, etc., just sort of like a porter.
Yeah,
I'll use one of those to apply pressure, and I think we had said that it was. I just want to get the name right. That it was Razor Eyes who had thrown the fan. That
Mhm.
Yes. So I'm going to go in that direction. I'm going to follow Razor Eyes, and I think Starfall was also headed in that direction as well.
Yeah, Perfected Starfall was following after him. Well, actually, maybe Perfected Starfall is actually going to Johan Bamian instead. But you can definitely go after Razor Eyes Gomsman.
I'll do that.
Okay, so you find him in the middle of his killing spree.
I'm just trying to think of a really cool exposition, but just Razor Eyes. What is the meaning of this? What are you doing?
And he like it's like he doesn't hear you. And he's just but you kind of hear him like muttering to himself. He says, I have to pay for it. Blood needs to be paid with blood. And kind of like that's what he's doing.
Gotcha. Can I engage Razor Eyes? I mean, I guess just where's Razor Eyes in relation to me? Is it just a sort of mass of people around him, or?
Do you want to duel him? Is that what you mean, or do you mean you want to talk to him?
I guess I want to duel him. I mean, I feel compelled to sort of stop this.
You can go for it.
So, here's a good mechanics question. I revealed myself as the swordsman. Yes, that's. And I went ahead and I marked off one wound. And so my understanding, I guess, is that I'm just bloodied, cut, but suffer no penalty. But it's when I mark my second wound that I take the -2 ongoing.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm interpreting that right. Okay, cool. So, I guess I draw my sword and I, make it sort of clink against the stone or against, the ground, just to sort of try to draw his attention and just let him know that I'm essentially here. I don't want to kill him in cold blood when he has his back turned to me, or
Okay.
and I'm focused. I know that this is a very dangerous situation, so I'm cautious. I guess this time I'm going to try to. I guess I'm going to use Earth.
No, you have to roll metal because that's your style element.
Oh, right. Thank you. Nonetheless, yeah, controlled and calculated. Oops. And oh, great! Thank goodness. So that's a 12.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say, I think he would have been above your scale, but actually, Perfected Starfall, if you can, I mean, I know that we were just saying that you were walking away, but I think if you can say how you are helping in the situation, then I'm gonna say we can even the score, in some way.
Yeah. I think I guess what I'm thinking about is trying to roll impress to kind of like catch him off his guard. Does that make sense?
Well, in this situation, you just need to describe narratively
Okay.
how you want to do it, and also impress is for impressing crowds, but we can engage with that after.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just yell as loud as I can, traitor! And I throw one of my stars with a little bit of like gunpowder on it, and it's sparking flames towards him.
Hmm.
You've doomed our clan. You knew this was coming, and you let it happen. I disown you from the Meteor Grace clan.
Great. And I think that's enough for him to like swing wildly to kind of like block that, but also it throws him off definitely, like in his mind. Okay. And Graven Hunter. So what does it look like that now that now that he's been distracted, and also, so again on a 10+, you win the conflict. We can see if you show mercy, and also you may declare a shift in the fiction. So like change of heart, you can impress someone, shift in entanglement, so on and so forth. So, but I want to know what this fight looks like.
Sure. Yeah. Right. So Razor Eyes is distracted, and Graven Hunter's strategy of sort of sitting back and letting people tire themselves out hasn't worked at all. So he takes the initiative, and I mean, he sinks the blade. He just finds an opportunity, sinks the blade in Razor Eyes' side.
And is this a killing blow?
I think so. Yes. It's just sort of, I guess cinematically, it's almost as if everything else stops, it pauses, and just he continues to sort of sink the blade slower and deeper into Razor Eyes.
Yeah. And I think this is the moment that we kind of get like the camera kind of like drawing back to like mirroring scenes almost, or just like to see, like, reveal the whole scene with all of us there. There's on the ground just all these different bodies, one of which is this woman with half of her face scarred,
Right.
and just all of these people dead, and beside that woman, to two men, one of which is wearing a mask, kind of half crouching, half collapsed on the ground, and bleeding, and then a bit further away, a young woman also with a mask, and a much older man. Similarly, I think collapsed on the ground, and then here, this old man slowly sinking to the ground, and a younger man with his blade inside of him, a bit further away, a woman standing there. And I think overhead, a couple of crows caw. And I think that ends this game. We should definitely have epilogues. Let's take a break and then come back with epilogues, or did you want to do the epilogues right now?
So I prefer to take a break first, just to give us a chance to kind of reflect on it for a few minutes.
That sounds good. So let's just take a 5. And so let's come back at 28 after. Okay. So I'm going to start with many temper Xiaohu, and then, yeah, many temper Xiaohu.
Okay. I think just in the aftermath of that complete fiasco of a ceremony, I think the Meteor Grace clan is conducting a memorial for all of its members that were killed in the fighting, and uh, there is a pointed, like, empty seat at the head where normally in these kind of ceremonies Razor Eyes Gong Sung would have sat. And I think everyone at the ceremony just sort of looks toward that chair repeatedly. And I don't want to necessarily step on Josh's toes, but unless Perfected Starfall had some eye on this kind of thing, I think Xiaohu's going to be making a play to take over. And I think he seats himself on that chair in the ceremony, since he was the person who took out the Jade Serpent, and he's used that to basically place himself at the head of the Meteor Grace clan right now. And he completes that, and I think at the after the ceremony, he it's drafting a letter, and he takes that letter, folds it, and places it inside a small envelope, and is placing that letter into like a little floating bottle, and places it into the river and lets it drift away. And as you see this sort of focus in on the letter, you see on the inside, and it sort of focuses in on the writing of the letter, that he is written in there that it's addressed to Dancer of Loss, and it says, "This is not the way I would have preferred things to end, but it is the way they ended. I hope someday that you will read this and forgive me." And I think that's where his epilogue will fade out.
Okay. Graven Hunter.
I think. I think again, just cinematically, you see this sort of old dusty road, and farmers on each side of it, and you just kind of see Graven Hunter sort of, walking past the camera. This is kind of what he does for the Many Venom sect. He just goes from sort of town to town, doing what they what they ask him to do. And so he's going on to the sort of next, sort of the next job, the next place, the next, the next challenge.
Perfected Starfall.
I think at the end of the ceremony that Mini Tempered Xiaohu was talking about, Perfected Starfall walks up to him and says, I have failed this clan as fully as I possibly could, and I wholeheartedly suggest that you completely disband it. But no matter what you do, I am leaving, and I wish you the best. And she hands over her emblem and goes off to try to potentially mend things with Bao Yin, and if not, she'll just go her own way for the rest of her life.
Gentleman Bao Yin.
I think we see Nanfeng sitting at a table, and like someone brings in a letter addressed to his sister, and he opens it and looks through it, and he sets to writing another letter, which says, you are cordially invited to the wedding of Nanfeng and Many-Tempered Xiaohu, and has that sent back to Many-Tempered Xiaohu. By his sister. But I don't think he's so cruel that he wouldn't give her the letter. So he would like hand her that letter and then set about writing the other one and then send her off to deliver this invitation to Many-Tempered Xiaohu to his own wedding. Trying to hold up the betrothal.
Okay. Oh man, this story needs a season 2. Considering that none of the PCs have died. Oh. Okay, so now did you try to die?
I was only one failure away from having all my things marked,
Well,
which
just 'cause
could have meant I would die.
I mean, if at any point you wanted to be like, I do this and I die, I wasn't going to stop you. And you don't have all of your boxes marked.
That's true.
Okay, so that there ends our game. Let's just go into stars, and I guess we can do instead of wishes, we can do like maybe a little bit of mechanics feedback, like if there's anything that y'all's were like, I don't understand this, or like, oh, I feel like this was like a friction point within the gameplay, like mechanic wise. We can definitely talk about all of those things, but first let's do stars, and I kind of just want to do it in the same order. So
Okay.
yeah, starting with you, Chris.
Okay. First star, I'll throw out to Kurt. I mean, that scene with Bao Yin putting on the mask, I thought was super cool. I saw that visual, and like that would be like the defining moment in the last episode of this of this series. That was awesome. With Joshua perfected Starfall, that whole the whole just weird quadrilateral love triangle thing you had going between like perfected Starfall and Graven Hunter and Bao Yin and maybe Sour Sadness Bear thrown in there, and then the moments, just everything figured in just so well, and I thought that just worked out really, really well for that whole just sort of knot of a storyline that was around Perfected Starfall. I thought that was really cool. Eduardo Graven Hunter continues to be like probably the most likable character among among all of us, just consistently. Like he would be like the audience connection character for this series. I think like he'd be the one everybody would know. Yeah, I'd probably want to have like a beer with that guy. I wouldn't trust any of the rest of these people, but that guy would be pretty cool. Agatha, again, you did a great job of tying together all of the crazy nonsense and like trying to make sense of like all of these failure roles that we kept making throughout this entire last episode, taking everybody out of combat with like failed roles that like hit their style elements, and just you managed to take that and play with it and turn it into something coherent, and that was awesome. So thanks.
Sweet. Eduardo?
Yeah, I mean, I would just second everything that Chris said. I mean, I sort of, stars to, Joshua and Kurt, just to, sort of like a gross, like, and then what happened, and then, not, of course, not to leave you out either, Chris. I mean, you guys, we're just sort of playing these bonds like, I don't know, what's a good analogy, sort of like strings on a guitar. I mean, and then, Agatha as well, just amazing to kind of just pull this all together and kind of, keep track of it all and keep things like rolling. Thank you all. I mean, I feel cliched when I say this, but man, it's like every time I do one of these sessions, it's like I learn something else. I learn something new, both on the player side and the GM side. So, thanks, guys. Gosh.
Joshua?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with everyone's ability to kind of like show their character change, especially in this last episode. Like Gentleman Balyan's decision to take up the Jade Serpent mantle, Xiaohu's not choosing Dancer of Loss, and actually going through with the duel was really surprising, and then Graven Hunter finally revealing yourself. I just think it was like the perfect culmination of what we'd all been building up to. And then, yeah, like Chris said, Agatha, just dealing with all of our, like having to come up with all these moves for all of our failures, not to mention tying everything together. I still don't think I fully understand everything that was going on, but that's what you want, right? At the end, there's got to be a couple questions left. So yeah.
What are your questions? I want to know. We can also discuss them right now.
I don't understand what Razor Eyes was like, why he was killing random people.
So I was not clear. Basically, he was killing anyone that he either knows or thinks that he knows was responsible for what happened to the Frost Earth Palace, which is why he was picking up specific people and not killing everyone. But
So
that
was he killing Meteor Grace Clan people or Frost Earth Palace people?
He was killing Meteor Grace Clan people and also many Venom Sect people.
Because I got the impression that he was like remorseful for his hand in it or whatever.
Yeah, so he wanted to write that. Oh, I was very unclear, evidently. Yeah, that was what I was trying to say, but
I actually got that, but I just wasn't sure. Like, there wasn't I guess I didn't see enough like of him saying that, and since I couldn't tell who he was actually killing for sure.
That's fair.
But anyway, but I still thought it was fantastic. So
yeah, that's actually really good feedback for me. To just tell, because this is not a visual medium. Okay.
Yeah, good.
Kurt?
Stars to you, Agatha, for the speech as Jade Serpent. because I'm over here like, I want to help mom, while you're telling me to go and kill everyone, and I'm like, I'll do whatever you want. Yeah, okay. I'll murder everybody. So good job giving a heartfelt speech as mom. And I love that we failed our roles, but I was so sad that we didn't get any heartfelt moments between or it was like all sad moments between Perfected Starfall and Bao Yin. Because it's like every time we tried to comfort and support each other, we would just roll like three or less. But yeah, that was really good. You did a really good job of like making it hard to make that choice, right? To not to go off and choose family over Perfected Starfall. That was really good, and I really liked your portrayal of her and like all the pain that she was suffering as she like loses not only the person she loves, but then like her family starts dying. And Chris, that last scene, I was shocked when you didn't pick the girl. I was a little shocked when you didn't take that deal, but maybe it was too heavy. The price was too heavy. But yeah, the dual, the PC dual mechanic is tough, I think, because it's hard to tell like what you can offer. I think that would come with familiarity with the system, like what makes sense to offer to get a victory in the duel. But yeah, that was stars to you for the descriptions of the duel, and like when you killed the Jade Serpent and stuff like that. It was really cool. And I have a wish, because I didn't get any scenes with Graven Hunter, and we're supposed to be buds. So I'm sad I didn't get any Graven Hunter scenes.
I offered. I was like, if anyone wants a scene with each other before the final fight.
Yeah, I should have called out a Graven Hunter scene.
No.
Sure. I just sort of felt awkward, like, so I'm here to kill your mother. How are you?
I would have been
So I actually wanted to have a scene where I went to my bud and I'm like, you're not going to believe it. My mom's actually the villain, right? Because we're supposed to be old friends and like we differed, like we disagreed. But yeah, like the Graven Hunter is the like man of the people that everybody wants to hang out with. So and I'm sad that we never got to use the poisoned bowl or the poisoned washing your hands thing. If like I thought we were gonna finish, like someone else was gonna end up becoming the Jade Serpent and do the ceremony, and that person would just immediately die. I was really hoping I could kill myself with the washing hands ceremony.
Oh.
I thought it would. That's like the funny thing, right? Like that's if it was a slapstick.
Is it funny?
But yeah, the whole stars to everybody. You guys are all great. I had a really good time.
Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, I agree with a lot of the stars that y'all gave. I do think that it was a very downer of a last session, and I kind of felt like it had to go that way because there were so many failed rolls, and it was like hard to not. But yeah, that's true. I think I have to give Kurt. I definitely have to give you a star for how hard the choice was that you gave Chris. I was like, ooh, that's great. I should definitely remember this kind of a hard choice next time I'm running a game. That was brilliant. And Chris, I also appreciated how much thought you put into that decision as well. Like you really were taking it seriously, and then the choice that you made, I mean, either one would have had a huge narrative impact, but I think that one was the one that I think said a lot about Mini Terma Xiaohu. And I also thought it was interesting that he was like, my clan is obviously more important. But then in the end, he's also like, I did all this, so I deserve to be the leader now. Which I suppose is pretty in character. And uh I mean, okay. So, Eduardo, I feel kind of bad because and I guess this is I'm kind of just giving my general thoughts and not sticking to format, but I feel a little bad because I feel like I didn't tie you in enough in a way to everyone else.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, it's also a matter of, player proactivity too. Um, you know, I found myself kind of getting a little bit lost in the bonds, but that's me. I don't think it's anything that the other players did or didn't do, or you did not, do. It's like I wanted to, on the one hand, be sort of true to the character, but I felt like in some regards, I kind of boxed myself into sort of this place where,
Hmm.
kind of like everybody said. I mean, Graven Hunter just sort of was like a man of the people, and I kind of couldn't get myself out of that box in some regards.
Right. I did
Yeah.
I think I did like that you had this commitment to have this conversation with Sour Sadness Bear. I thought that was interesting. And it did end up revealing more plot because basically you talked about the uh what was it up the plot hole, and I was like, true, let's change it to fix that. And I appreciated that because narrative consistency and all that jazz. And I did think that that was very in character for Graven Hunter to be like, but this is also important. um yeah, I liked the amount of thought that you put into him, even if you felt like you were kind of boxing yourself in. It was like you definitely had your vision for that character, and I always felt like you were sticking to that and consistent with it.
I, I was just going to say, if it helps, man, Annie, I don't think you heard me say this to the rest of the group, but so I'd kind of tied myself into sort of this trope, and yeah, I mean, in 2020 hindsight, feel like maybe that trope really did not sort of fit, maybe the genre, the setting that well. Um, yeah, I don't know.
I,
Yeah, it's caused me to sort of rethink, how do I sort of, think about this um, in future terms.
I I think part of that too is one of like our bond was like we had bonds together. But then I think you missed session 3 and I missed session 4. So like we didn't really get a chance to develop those bonds. So by the end session there was no like, all right, let's wrap it up, because we, other than having that fight in the street, like we didn't really get any scenes together. So like those bonds just never really got hit.
Yeah, and I think instead of because I was trying to like develop stuff about the many venom sect, but instead of that, maybe I should have had you interact with the Jade Serpent as well and tied that in. But yeah, hindsight 2020. But I still want to give you the star for like trying with what you had. And I appreciate that you did do the reveal at the end because I was waiting for it. Turns out I'm this that. And Joshua, I really like your portrayal of Professor Starfall. I felt like she's a very multifaceted character. Like I saw a lot of sides of her. She's there are times when she's kind of like is like, oh, I am the authority figure, and it, like tells people what to do and what not to do. But then there's also like the side of her that is like in love and kind of um in a very adorable way, and I like that, but it doesn't. I just like that there's like, and her sense of right and wrong is very consistent, and I like that you played her as definitely like a thoughtful sort of person, but um was not bland and was not cerebral. in any way. So I thought she was very cool, and I think she deserved all of the affections that all of the characters had for her. All right, so actually, I'm going to stop the broadcast now. Thanks everyone. If you stuck with this story, well, this is the session. And if you stuck with it to the very end, congrats. But you also made the right choice, because this is definitely the one that to tune in for, because that's where everything goes down. Again, if you want to play games like these, I may run more for the Gauntlet, or not. I don't know. I may. You should definitely Google Gauntlet RPG. Or I may stick a link in the... no, I won't. Just kidding. But thank you again. Thanks all of you for playing. I super appreciate it.